À notre clinique aujourd'hui en ce magnifique 21 décembre. Merci d'être ici ce matin. Aujourd'hui, on va avoir l'opportunité d'avoir trois speakers vraiment intéressants. Je me présente, mon nom est Daniel Grimard, je suis directeur à la Fédération de Basketball Québec. Aujourd'hui, le format de la clinique est sur deux niveaux. On a une clinique de développement ce matin avec Ryan, que je vais vous présenter dans les prochaines minutes. Mais on a aussi intégré à la journée les entraîneurs du CBQ, du Circuit Basketball Québec et des sports-études. Donc, la clinique d'aujourd'hui, les ateliers d'aujourd'hui durent jusqu'à 4h30 cet après-midi. Fait que les entraîneurs qui se sont inscrits pour la clinique de ce matin avec Ryan, mais dans votre coût d'inscription, vous allez pouvoir faire la journée au complet, incluant l'après-midi, avec les deux entraîneurs de Bishop qui vont être ici pour cet après-midi pour nos deux thèmes de l'après-midi. Si vous êtes les bienvenus à rester toute la journée avec nous, pour ceux du CBQ et celles du CBQ et des sports-études, nous c'était pour la journée, incluant la clinique de ce matin et les deux de cet après-midi. Ceci étant dit, on va tout de suite partir ça. Donc, je vais vous présenter notre premier speaker ce matin, Ryan Thorne, qui est l'entraîneur de l'équipe féminine de l'Université McGill. Avec l'Université McGill depuis combien d'années maintenant, Ryan? 17 ans. Champion national il y a 2 ans? Il y a 2 ans. Et champion provincial à quelques reprises. Ryan, ce matin, va nous parler défensive d'équipe, comment on construit notre défensive d'équipe. Puis on l'a pour 90 minutes. On l'a pour toute l'avant-midi ce matin, mais ça va être séparé en deux blocs de 90 minutes. On l'a pour toute l'avant-midi ce matin. Pour votre information, la clinique, les trois cliniques d'aujourd'hui vont être sur vidéo, vont être disponibles après les fêtes. Fait que ça va être des outils de référence pour vous autres aussi. Durant la journée, n'hésitez pas si vous avez des questions. Au fur et à mesure, levez votre main. Ryan va passer du français à l'anglais, il va se promener un peu dans les deux. Fait que soyez à l'aise. Si vous lui posez vos questions en français ou en anglais, il n'y a pas de problème. Sur ce, Ryan, on y va, on passe ça, ils sont à toi.
Merci Daniel. Alors, je suis un coach anglophone. Puis je peux me débrouiller un peu en français, mais ça ne va pas être le meilleur. Alors, je vais m'essayer le plus possible. Si vous avez des questions, tu peux parler, tu peux lever la main, je peux essayer de clarifier un peu plus en français si ça va trop vite. Je suis aussi un homme de l'île. Puis, des fois, on parle vite. Puis, alors, même en anglais, c'est possible que ça va passer vite. S'il y a une question, un problème, lève la main, puis je vais arrêter, je vais l'expliquer encore. Alors, aujourd'hui, on parle de team defense. Pour moi, c'est important de comprendre que vous êtes là comme coach, comme entraîneur, pas d'expliquer, right? Pas de dire aux gens quoi faire. C'est en anglais, to teach them what to do. And I think, là je vais me charger un peu parce que j'ai pratiqué ça, j'ai travaillé tout ça en anglais, puis ça va aller mieux, je pense. For me, I created an acronym for the word teach. Because oftentimes, we tell our athletes, and then we get frustrated because, didn't I tell you this before? C'est pas la première fois que je te dis ça. Ça fait 10 fois, ça fait 20 fois que je te dis ça. Mais c'est ça, vous l'avez dit. That's it. You've told them. You have not taught them. You did not teach them this. So from that, I created an acronym for the word teach. So in English, the word teach is T-E-A-C-H. And for me, the T means to. E, explain. A, actions. C, creating. H, habits. That's how we teach. And you'll see this in all walks of life. You go into a classroom, no one does one example on the board, and then just lets them go, and then throws another example. No, we explain the actions and then we create habits on how you can continue to do this. I break this down into two areas as well. TEA, to explain actions. That is the what and the why. C'est le quoi puis le pourquoi je le fais. Now, 10, 20 years ago, when let's say 10, when I was playing, all right, there was no why to this. Le coach dit quelque chose, tu vas le faire. Now, whether good or bad, there's a why. And there has to be a why. Most of these kids right now that you're going to see probably go online and research as much basketball as you do because they're interested in becoming more successful. So if you just give them a what without the why, sometimes like, hey, j'ai vu ça sur Facebook, puis ils font pas ça, ça marchera pas. And they have more of those concerns than we do. So I'm going to give you a quick example right now. Nadine, come on over here a second. I want you to just run half. Good, come back. Good. So that's the what. I'm going to mute this for a second. Ready? Go! You notice the difference? What? Quelle différence? Yeah, she ran a lot harder the second time. And she ran a lot harder the second time. You can say it was perfect, thank you. She ran a lot harder the second time because there was a why. I'll tell you exactly what I told her. I said, Nadine, the first time all I gave her was the what? Run to half court and back. Same instruction. I didn't change the instruction, but I gave her a why. Nadine, this is being filmed. And coaches from all over North America might see this. And you know what? If they see that you can run there quickly and back quickly, you might get a scholarship. All of a sudden, the intensity changed. No different instruction, but just giving her a why changed her intensity. And so this is very critical in our teaching. As much as we wish that kids would just run as hard as they can because we said, what? Sprinter le plus possible parce qu'on a dit sprint. Des fois, ça prend un pourquoi. Now, don't get this confused. This is in teaching. I've had this conversation with my own players. Parce que des fois, pas besoin d'un why, but on match. On compétition, we're competing now. I don't have time to give you a why. So there also needs to be that respect on le sprint. You understand? The other side of that acronym for teach, creating habits. Well, that's our drills. All right? Our drills need to be done to create habits. And sometimes as coaches, we'll give them a drill and we'll do it once. And we're doing it twice. And we understand it because we've gone over it in our heads so many times. But has that drill created a habit in their mind? Has that drill now done something to make sure they're doing this on a consistent basis? So that's how I break down teach. In our CH, create habit, our drills, we break our drills up into 4 phases. Okay? We have an on-air phase. And in that on-air phase, what basically happens, you're going to be teaching the technique, the movement, the details that go into it. So that all it is repetition of the technique. Our next phase is guiding. So now we just, if it's an offensive technique we're working on, on ajoute un peu de défensive, mais on va le guider. On va dire, quand on attrape la balle, if we're working on the layups, on va faire un layup à 2 pas parce que la défensive est à l'intérieur puis on va chercher le contact. And we'll do that over and over. We're guided. There's no decision making there. You are going to show her the same thing, and she's going to continue in that manner so that she understands, A, the technique, but also now in this guided, the why. Are we clear? Our next stage is what we call, our next phase, we call it our live phase. And in there, we've given them their guides, and now we start to teach decision making. All right? For me, in our live phase, we'll do that multiple times the same person. Not a lot of rotations. And I would suggest to this, you know, sometimes we go offense to defense, defense out if we have 3 groups. Something to think about is just making sure that when they're off, the next thing they're coming into is the thing we're focused on. So for that would be, if we were working on an offense principle, I would go offense to defense, defense out. And the reason being, there's 3 stations there. You're on offense, defense, and then you're out. There you have at least 2 times that you're actually thinking of what we're doing. So for me today, we're doing defense. If we were going to rotate that way, it would be defense to offense, then offense out. Est-ce qu'on comprend? Does everyone understand that? Does it make sense? And like I said, for the reason is, while I'm doing I'm out, now I'm thinking about, hey, what do I got to do next on defense? So je pense à défensive. Next I'm on defense, je pense à défensive. Next I'm on offense, je pense à l'attaque. So that's the only time out of the 3 stations that really you're working on offense. The other 2 times, you're working on what you're supposed to be working. Are we clear? The last thing we talk about is our compete phase. In our compete phase, very similar to our live phase. However, now we will add time. We will add score. All of these things now become important. The one thing I would ask you to think about as coaches, you do a lot of, comme entraîneur, tu travailles beaucoup tes joueurs. You're going to work a lot, your players, to get them to be better athletes, better skilled. When do you practice? When do you as a coach practice how to become a better coach? Because I hope you're not going to tell me your practice to become a better coach happens in games. Because we get so upset at our athletes when they're messing up things because we want to win these games. But when do you coach as a practice? When do you practice as a coach? Anyone? Perfect. So right now you're sitting, watching, listening, learning information, right? And that's great. But you have, and I don't know how many times a day you practice, how many times a week you practice, and what the duration of your practice is. But let's say you have a 2-hour practice. In that 2-hour practice, travaille les filles, travaille les hommes. Mais comment? Quand est-ce que toi tu vas travailler? When are you going to work? You're giving them stuff that prepares them to be better in the storm. All right? After these match. But when do you get better in the storm? How do you practice that? I would suggest that it happens in your practices, in the compete phase. And I'll give you an example. You're going to scrimmage. You're going to get up and down. This is you working your players. They're doing what they're supposed to do, and then all of a sudden you find, hey, there's one team that's up by 7. Okay, I'm about to down 7. And I take that team, and now I script it. Okay, this is what we need to do, because this is what I'm seeing as a coach that's going wrong. And now you put yourself in a coaching position. How do I change this in the next couple minutes? How do I make them better in this next couple times so that we can change this from being down 7 to up 7? Because that's what happens in your games. Similarly, maybe it's a team that is already up 7, and now you've made some changes and say, okay, you know what? How do I keep this lead? Because in a game, things will happen where the lead starts to go because, hey, I just let them play. So there's opportunities for you guys to get better in practice, and that's during your compete phase. Take your assistant coach with you. What's my set this team? What's my and compete against each other. Opportunity for you to get better. But don't just come into practice daily and think that the only people that need to get better are over there. Understand that you need to get better as well. And it's great that you're here, but you have opportunity daily to get yourself better. And that's what I would suggest. Last thing on that. Length of something to evaluate how you're doing. Right? We just talked about our 4 phases. All right? Okay, hold on a second. I'm just going to do something really quickly. Can you come in 1 second? Yeah. Yeah, you're in trouble. You're right, you're in trouble. How are you? Alan, where are you going? You can come off the carpet for a second. Okay, Alan. ¿Cómo vas a Navarro?
I know.
Okay, stop that. If this was your team right now, and a player is late, what? Okay. Hold yourselves to the same standards that you hold your players. Don't think it's okay for you to walk in unprepared. Don't think it's okay for you to be late and you're chilling coming in here. Hold yourself to the same standards that you hold your players that you're going to get mad at them for after. You understand? I think that's really important. So, Alan, the rest of the practice, you're going to be my assistant. All right? So any drills that I need, you're my dude, okay? All right, good. All right? So, that happens, I'm distracted. I think I'm getting old, and like the dog when they see a squirrel running, he's all turned, I get distracted really quickly, right? So that distracts me, so I'll always try to bring that person in and let them know that's probably not the greatest thing to do. Last thing, the length of your practices. Early in practice, early in the season, the length of your practice, for us, we go 2 hours. If your practices, by the end of the season, you still need the same 2 hours, you haven't been doing a good job teaching. Because the small details that you work on as you get these players better, now you've moved to different phases. You should probably not need to use a lot of on-air phase stuff later on in your practice. Maybe you're teaching a few different things, but not a lot of on-air stuff. Probably not even a lot of guidance stuff. You're probably able to move through these things a lot quicker. So in a 2 hour, if that's what you have, by, let's say, January, those should be getting down to about 1.5 hours. By the time we hit playoffs, those should be getting down to 1 hour. They need some rest, they need some recovery. Right? Now, if you're going to tell me, like, I use that time, maybe get some shots up, maybe. What I would suggest to you, that sometimes as coaches, we're just selfish with our time. And we want to use it all up. Right? And sometimes we don't really need to do that because we just tax the players a lot. All right? Does that make sense? Okay. I'm going to tell you a bit of how this is going to go because I had a totally different understanding than Dan just allowed me to know. All right? So, no, I'm just saying. For me, we're going to break this up, right? And so I see a lot of you guys writing down some notes. And I think that's a great thing. But you're going to be involved. Like, you didn't come here to watch me. I'm all right looking, but I'm sure you can do something better with your time, right? So, for me, you're going to get on, and we're going to give you some time where you guys will get a chance to develop some drills, right? You'll use the players. I'll call a few of you up, and then we'll just go through that, all right? And then we'll just talk about what phase it was, why we did it, what it was you were doing, a little of that. You understand? I like to write, I'll tell you just a quick last story before we get started. Probably 10 years ago, when I started coaching and would do some of these things, I would talk and no one would write. And if I thought it was something really important, I would say, Dick Bennett said this. And all of a sudden, as soon as you say Dick Bennett, that's a Dick Bennett gets right? And so anytime I thought it was important, I would say Dick Bennett said it. And everybody started writing. So now it's great to see that my growth has come so that Ryan said it and some of you guys are writing. So I appreciate that, all right? So we'll get started right now. I'll take 3 young ladies. Nadine, since I know you're going to come up, let's get Joy, you're in black, so you can come as well. Actually, let's get 6 players. So you go white, black, white, black, white, black. Let's get a couple basketballs. Want to get 3 basketballs out there, please? So the first thing we're going to talk about is our closeouts. I think we're talking about our team defense and building it. I think there are 3 really important things in our team defense that you have to lock down in your teaching. I think it's our defending penetration, all right? So being able to stop the ball from going into the paint. I think it's transition defense, and now there's a ton of ball screens that happen. And so it's the ball screen. But I think if you can lock down those 3 things in your team defense, I think you're going to be pretty good. All right? So first thing we're going to start talking about are closeouts, deal with our penetration. So let's just put the basketball down. And where's my assistant coach? There you go. Here we go. Come up here. So this is the stand right there by the phone. This is something we do every day. Every day in practice, we practice closeout. So let's take this first thing you stand right here. And I want you to, right now, you're going to close out to LA. Let's get LA a basketball. And you're going to close out to LA. And this is something we do every day. All right? I want you working on our closeout technique. I want you to sprint to LA. All right, halfway through there, I'm going to throw my arms up to slow myself down, and I'm going to get to LA guard. All right, now, for our closeouts, we look at 3 things. We have 3 things that we believe are important. The first thing is what we call our urgency. How hard do I need to close out to this person? Now, that'll change depending on scouts, so on and so forth. But for right now, we believe that the most important thing is to close out to everyone like she's a shooter. Easy to dial it back if she's not, but let's start our teaching by assuming Alain's a great shooter. Okay? So, all we want you to do is close. The second thing that we talk about, so we talk about our urgency. The second thing we talk about is stance. Based on where we are on the floor, where do we want to send this player? And then the third thing we talk about is pressure. How close do I need to be to LA? So we'll just run through a few. Ready? As you're ready, we want to close out as hard as we can. Because our teaching is baseline from here down, I want to influence down to the baseline, and then I want to have hand pressure. So I want to be able to touch LA when I get it. Go. Good. Go. 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 Okay, stop. Okay. How many of you do this? We're doing closeout drills similar to this. Good. So, like I said, we would do this every day and change as we go. I want to change this, and now I'll put Nadine right there. And Nadine will take the basketball. I'll end this up for a second. In our teaching, we talk about urgency. And our urgency is we want players to move on the flight of the ball. If Alain's standing there with the ball, we're not teaching him the habits of moving on the flight of the ball. We're just teaching her to close out to the ball. So we used to do it all the time, and then we changed it to this. So Nadine, what I want you to do is take the basketball, and I want you to bounce it. Good, like just bounce it high and catch it, like, let me, yeah, perfect. So let me help you with this quickly. So all I want you to do is this. Got it? Here we go. So now, we get a better sense of what we want. So now let's look at our closeout. So we're teaching the what, but why are we moving? On the flight of the ball. So as you bounce it, I want you to get to that, get to Nadine with the pressure, influencing down to the baseline, and I want you to be able to touch Nadine before she catches that, by the time she catches that ball. Got it? Ready? Go. Good. Go. Sorry. You switch out, keep the basketball. Here we go. Go. Switch out. Go. Good. Good. Go. That's it. Now, I'm going to take myself out of it. All right? So now, it's been easy for a bit. It's been just me saying go. So now we'll change it so that you're just recognizing what happens when she does it, right? Good. What's missing? You can talk. Good. So we understand part of it. And here's what I would say to you, Catherine. 100% what's missing is communication. Right? Very quiet in the gym. What did I tell them to do? Pardon? Good. So I told them to sprint out, throw your hands back, get to influence to the baseline, touch the body. When did I tell them to talk? So why am I going to punish them for not talking? If you haven't given something as instruction, you can't now be like, hey, we're missing talk in this. Your instruction has to be part of what you want. You're 100% right. I don't like the drill because there's no communication. But if I haven't said that to them, you can't be mad because you assume that they should all know this. Make sense? Good. So here we go. Now we're going to make sure we're doing all that and we're adding communication to what we do. Ready? So what's our communication sound like? Good. Here we go. Let's go. Good. Good. Exit. Stop. Okay, so now, turn around. We do, like I said, we do this all day, and our things change. So what we're going to do is we're going to do this, and it's going to start with Nadine. All right, so you get back here. And every time Nadine gets back here, we're going to move from that cone to this cone to that cone. We're going to do this all the way across, all the way through. Are we clear? Something to understand about our teaching. We force baseline as soon as we hit this cone. So everything from the bend down will force baseline. The reason for us forcing baseline, limited space down here. And we want you to go to as much traffic and action as possible. Okay? Everything from the wing up, we force back to the top. Now, some of you might say, you're forcing middle. No, we don't force middle. Will it go middle sometimes? Yeah. But we're forcing back to the top. The reason we don't force with our principles all the way back to the top is because when this girl opens up and there's no space there, that's a huge gap to cover. So we want to make sure you're going to where there's a lot of traffic when you're on the baseline, and then when we're coming back to the top, a lot of traffic up here. There's usually people in this here, so we force everything top. So that's what we want to think about. All right? So what I'm going to ask the people bouncing the ball to do, we know that the ball is going to allow us to influence. So I'm going to close out to the ball here because we're forcing that way. Once we get to this cone, which way we want to go? That way. So which way are you going to bounce the ball with? Can't you get about the ball with? No. Good. She's going to close out to the ball. Got it? Here we go. Go. Go, go, go. Good. Let's go. Go. Right away. Now we can pick the pace up right now. Let's go. Pick the pace up. Let's go. That's it. We're moving on the flight of the ball. Air time. Don't run before. Good, so we're going to bounce the ball again. She's just going to bounce with that hand right there. So there you go. So she comes out to her. Good. Good. That's it. That's it. Hold right now. Okay, so this exact same thing will continue all the way through. All right? So now we're starting to understand how to play out, where we want to influence. on-air drill, and now we're going to now make it live. All right, so all that's going to happen is we're going to start back down there because we worked on that side. And now we're going to make these live. So, bounce, close out, garter, defend. You back off the court. You just attack the one-on-one, go from there. You got 2 dribbles, 3 dribbles to score. Got it? Here we go. Okay, rotate out, let's go. Okay, good. Don't worry about that. Let's go. Stop. Where's your bounce going to be? Other hand. All right, because we want to set our baseline. Let's go. Stop. Do it again. Now you got to bounce. Keep moving on your air time. Other hand. Stop. Other hand. Good. There you go. Good. There you go. That's it. Good job. Rotate. Good. Go. Keep going. As we go, keep going. I'm just going to talk. Good. Some of the teaching points. All right. Once you see, keep going, that she's gone middle, there's an error in our teaching. Right? Or we know our influence is to take away that middle. So our bounce, we're looking for, is she closing out properly? Is she dealing with our influence in the correct manner? Alright? So we should not have any kind of middle penetration. Alright? Let's go. Change it. We're up here now. Okay, so now we've changed and now we're forcing back up the line. So right now, as a coach, I'm looking at it as she gets out there. I want the communication, I want the sprint, I want the urgency, I want the stance, and I want to make sure there is no baseline penetration now. Because it changes. Alright, let's go. Good. Here we go. Go get it. Let's go. Good, here we go. Let's go. Good. Okay. How would I correct right now? What you see, because we're afraid of getting beat, is that there's a lot of short closeouts. First thing we talked about is we're teaching urgency, and we got to get out there and make contact and touch, right? So we'll put something different in it right now, all right? So now, offensively, if you could ever get this ball up and shoot it, just shoot it. And that would be a consequence for the defense, because we're not closing out hard. However, you want to make sure that the offense is just not chucking up anything, right? So if you shoot this and it's an air ball, that's a consequence for you. So now there's going to be some thought in it for the defense. I mean the offense as well. She's not just going to put up anything. But now that urgency has to apply right now. All right? Here we go. Let's go. Good. That's it. Let's go. Rotate. Let's get up to the top. Good. Let's go. Rotate. Let's go. Let's go. Remember what I said you can do. You can just shoot it. She's not coming all the way out. Right? Just shoot the ball. She's come on. Don't worry about it. Let's go. Hard. Good. Let's go. Last two. Good. Good job. Last one. Good. Okay. As we go forward, the next thing we're going to do is we will add. We've just talked to them about where we're going to get our help from. we're influencing, right? And they're going to get beat sometimes. What we will do right now is we will add a player. So let's get White right there on offense. We're going to get a defensive player right here in black. Good. And then we'll get another defensive player right here. Good. So now we're going to start to work on that rotation piece. Where's our help going to be coming from? So that they start to feel confidence on how we close out. That there's someone behind them. So we want to make sure the communication remains consistent. We're not making this 2-on-2 right away, because what has a tendency to happen is right away, as soon as this starts going, then she's more worried about me. And then she doesn't get into the rotation properly. So we want to teach proper rotations. We want to teach her to be ready to take care of her teammate. So we'll continue in the same manner. Let's go. Stop, go. And now, as soon as that ball goes and she sprints out, exactly, you're sprinting over it to help. You're going to be making sure our urgency's there, our influence is there, and if you get beat, she's coming over to our help, and we're trying to stop her outside the lane. Now, this is a great opportunity for learning from them. When do I go? Do I always have to go? It's not just going to be, hey, I always run over. If she doesn't need to go, she's going to tell her. And the reads that we're going to have is, as we close out, go out hard. The communication is going to come from here to either switch or stay. And the reason being, as athletes, we often have a mentality that I'm never out of it, I'm never beat. So it's hard for us sometimes to admit that we're beat. So we want to have our communication come from right here. If she sees that she's by her shoulders, this is mine. And I'm going to communicate that I'm switching out of this. Does that make sense? Good. If she's not by the shoulders because she can see them, she's got her, she's setting her down there, we're just going to leave it as that. Are we clear? All right, let's go. Good, good. There you go. Same 3 dribbles is all you got. Let's go, rotate through. Good job. All right. Here's the one thing that I will always talk about in our health. We're never going to slide to these positions. We're always going to sprint to them. So, from the lane that you were defending, when she goes, I'm sprinting to my rim position. Got it? Here we go. Stop. I would correct right away, because what was my thing that I asked? Good. So we're going to sprint. So those things I would correct right away. Right? There are things that we will allow them to figure out, but this right now is something I just spoke to. So right away, if that's an issue, we correct right away. All right? Go. Good. Good job. Now, keep going. Go, rotate. Who said Chile? Go, keep on, keep on. Who communicated that? Yeah, on the ball, right? And like I said, we would prefer, keep going, for that help to be communicated by the person off the ball, because like I said, as players, we have that pitch in the field, we're never beat. All right? Let's go. Change our spot. Good. So now, so now we're closing out with this area right here. All right? So as we close out, we're sending her back middle. So where's our help going to be in this situation? Good. So as that ball moves out there, you're sprinting right to the rim. I mean, right to the nail. Yeah, from right there, right to the nail. Got it? Good. So let's begin. Go, rotate. Okay, stop. What could you have done better? Why? Yeah, well, because you shoot, but also you want to influence her back this way. And the fact that you short close out right there allows her to make decisions one way or the other. You want to make sure there's no decision. Okay? Speaking to our help. Let's go right there on the ball. Let's get our person sprinting to the rim. Yeah. I want to make sure in this position I'm communicating, right? We talk specifics. So if you're playing at that rim, you're going to be communicating behind there, rim, rim, rim. That's what she knows. She knows someone is there. If I'm at this position right now, I'm going to be communicating nail, nail, nail the entire time. The way we play it from here is this. I want to play with my legs closest to the defense up. And the reason being, I want to stunt at the defense, at the offensive player, and then be able to play out to my man. Alright? We always want to stunt up, because now I'm in a position from hell. As she goes, I stunt up, I keep vision on my player, and now I can close out and play my player. Are we clear? Alright, so let's take a look at that quickly. Don't double, just need to go. Rotate. Good, out. Go, rotate. Good, so that would be a correction. We end up going baseline, right? Let's go, keep going. Good. Last one. Okay, so not allowing her to go there tells me something. Urgency wasn't there. We're not taking away from baseline. All right. We'll move from 2-on-1. From 1-on-2 to 2-on-2 right now. All right. And just for time's sake, what we're going to do is go to the other side right now. We're going to go 2-on-2. So we have offense here. Now we're going to go live and just repeat this. All right. So we've gone 1-on-1. We've gone 1 versus 2. And now we're going to go 2-on-2. She's playing in that position right there. Right. We're forcing baseline. We know our rotation's coming from this side. So I'd like to go offensively on this side. Now, once we get to live teaching, all right, I'm going to allow black to go 3 times in a row. And the reason I'm going to allow them to go 3 times in a row is because I'm going to allow them to make some corrections on their own. Like anything else, you go get a new game and you start playing, you make a mistake, you lose, you want to go right away again to see where you can fix your error. So that gives them an opportunity to self-correct, as opposed to me jumping in all the time and going and helping them out. All right? Here we go. Good. Sit, let's go. Same group on offense, same group on defense. 3 times. Let's go. Good. Sit, let's go. Rotate. Good. That's it. Great job. Rotate. That's it. Stop. Let's go. Rotate. Remember the things we're talking about. Urgency, stance, and pressure. Those are the three things we want to have happen there. We want to have good communication as well. All right, let's go. Good. We know from there what we did wrong. Let's do the next one. Let's go. Okay, so same error, right? Just going baseline. Good. Good. So we see by going 3 times. So rotate again. Let's get up to here. And we're going to use swing, swing. You see by going 3 times, she met wrong the first 2 times, right? And then she corrected it on her own the last time, right? But where do we have an error now? In the help, right? So just making sure we can understand that they're going to go through a lot of their corrections as opposed to me stopping it all the time. Go. So let's play the completion. I haven't said it, so I'm not going to hold the response for it. Let's play the completion. Let's get a rebound, play the completion. Okay, what did we learn? Yeah, one about you play, play. Like Catherine said, really quiet gym, right? So we want to have our communication, okay? Let's go. Let's make sure we're talking. Everybody go this way. We want to send her to this one, right? Down on that hand, so she goes to that wall. Good. Keep playing. Good. Go. And we'll take, let's get 4 other people playing and 2 stay in. Actually, we need 8, so let's get 4 on 4. So, the big thing there is just making sure they understand that in our teaching that we can, a lot of their learning needs to come from them. We're going to give them details, but you're not on the floor every moment to do everything for them, right? And that's why you'll often see a lot of coaches who are yelling a lot and screaming a lot from the sideline, and that's because principals haven't been taught, right? They've been told certain things, but they haven't been taught. You have 5 timeouts as a coach. If they're not able to figure some things out on their own, your timeouts will be gone really quickly because you're going to have to stop and revisit something every couple minutes, all right? So you've got to allow them time to figure things out on their own. Good? Okay. We got 4 on 4, so I need 4 white, 4 black. I need 4 white, 4 black. We'll move right now from instead of just being 2 on 2, going to 3 on 2, we'll go to 4 on 4. Alain, can I get your help a second? Okay, let's just move these cones. Good. So let's get players at the wings in this way. So player right here, offense. So 4 white, all at the wings and swings. Thanks, Ellen. Player there, player here, players at the wing. Good. So let's get our players all along the lane defensively. So along that, on that lane, this one here. Good. And we're going to start the same way. All right, so let's start the basketball here. And we're going to bounce and move on to air time. All right? So one of the most important things you'll see is player movement and players getting into gaps. The further away the ball is, the more likely you are to take away or to sag and be worried about their player. All right? So what's going to happen is on the bounce, we're going to sprint the spot, bounce, good, close out, we send her where? Good. So we don't need you as much of a gap because you're going to send her there, split that leg and send her down. You're going to get right to the what? What do we call this? Yeah, perfect. So you're going to stand right, sprint right to the rim and you're going to scream it out. Good. You're sprinting to the perfect. Say it loud so that they know I taught you something. All right, so we're sprinting to the nail. Good. And you're getting in this gap right here, but I'm less concerned here because I know she's not going to come through. We are not concerned with the ball going from here to there. What we want to stop is penetration, either through the dribble or through the pass to the paint. All right? So if we sag a little so that they can see that pass, I'm okay with that. All right? What we want to work on right now is same idea. Pass, close out. If she's beat, I'm working on do I need to go or not. If she is, we're going over. Good. Rotate down, get to the rim, and we peel. Okay? So we would peel because she's going that way. So all I want to work on right now is none of the rotation, it's just the ball. So we won't drive, we won't go anything. What I want to work on is just positioning. Alright? So close out. Go close out. Good. Just keep it. Don't drive. Don't dribble. Stay there. Good. Pass the ball. Good. New spots. Sprint to your spot. In the gap. In the gap. In the gap. In the gap. Back into the gap. Perfect. Good. Move the ball. Sprint to your spot. Good. In the gap. Move the ball. Sprint to your spot. Good. In the gap. There you go. That's all we want to work on right now. Alright? Our philosophy, belly button to our man. So at all times, when we're playing, you're going to have a little lower, you've got rim, but belly button to your man because we want to see what's happening over there. I know this is my responsibility, I'm close enough to get there, but I want to make sure I can see what's happening over there. And this makes it really tough. We clear? That's all we want to do right now. Let's go. I'm going to need you in a second now. Ready? Let's go. You can start from here. Bounce from there. Let's go. Bounce. Other hand. Good. Hard. Good. 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 Stop. Did you see all of a sudden they started to pick it up and it started by one person? One person said ball, right? Because it was quiet on the first one. One person said ball, and then right away, all of a sudden I heard nail right away. And that cued her to say, good. And now what that lets everyone know is that they're in those spots. And you'll see that they will teach themselves. They'll move from there and they'll make sure the next one, everyone's saying everything. Here we go, let's go again, let's go. Good, let's turn it around, let's go. Turn it around, offensive defense. Good, now, you guys are doing a good job, but the voices are really quiet. I want the people outside the gym to know exactly what's happening. I want them to know where you're defending. All right, let's go. Let's go. Back in. Do it again. Stop. Okay, so correct. The ball is there. Okay, we talked about you having your belly button towards the man, right? So what does that mean? Good. Sit. Good. And you have one position right now. Yeah, good. So you're going to yell nail, belly button to your man, sit down. Sit down. Good. Here we go. All right, let's go. Do it again. Stop. Same thing, right? You're just going to turn. Okay. Now is when I need Alec. Okay, here we go. So, we understand positioning, and they're going to get this. So what I want from Alec is to stand right here. The toughest thing to deal with when you're teaching right away is their movement, right? Because we'll have a tendency, let's pass the ball, let's cut this way. Cut through. Good, that's your plan. Good, you go up. Good, go. Right away, what we have to do, right away, what we have a tendency to do is, that's your man, right? Good, this is what happens, right away. She starts starts moving right here. Right? And now we get out of our good position. All right? So one of the things we do is we'll put ayant right there. And you put your assistant coach, depending on how old you are, because your knees are going to bother you, because you're going to have to get down like this and help out. All right? So all we're going to do in this situation is we're going to bounce the ball, and we're going to make sure when this ball gets here, the only spots we're going to pass to from here on out is between these two. Got it? Good. When that ball is there, you're at the, good. So you're going to, and I like it closer. I want you to sit down. Good. And I want you to put your hands in LA's hands. Good. That's it. That's the spot you need to run to. All right? That's the spot you need to run to. And this is what's going to help your players because they will have a tendency to go from this spot to guard her right here. And now we've opened a huge gap in the middle. So as we teach them, we're going to give them some visuals, something actually solid to put their hand in, right? So that they know exactly what spot they need to be in. Got it? So this is how it's going to go. All we're going to do is pass there. Good. Jump to the ball. Good. Exchange. Exchange. No. Exchange. Exchange. Good. You're down. You're up into Ali's. See right away where she went? You're right to Ali's head. Because I'm not that concerned about this pass right here. We'll close out to this. Your job, when you're getting back down here because the ball's in that position, I'm going to play lane right here. Got it? Here we go. Ready? Hold on. Let's go. Start back here. We're going to bounce. And only the passes are only going to go across the top, or we're going to exchange weak side. Good? Only passes across the top. There. No. Okay. C'est ma faute parce que non, je suis mieux de parler en français ici. Ok. Alors. Faire un bon. Good. Puis là, on va seulement faire des passes entre vous deux. Alors, je fais une passe ici. Good. Let's go. Good. C'est ça. Good. C'est ça. Parfait. Là, je passe ici. Coupe. Good. Sprint. C'est qui descend? L'autre sprint. Good. Bon. Passe ici. Good. Coupe. C'est beau. Good. C'est ça. Pulse. Good. Back. Good. All right? Okay. Here we go. On commence ici avec un bounce. Good. Close out. Good. So. Good. Stop. What was I waiting for? Anybody know, coaches? What? J'attendais quoi? Okay, so I was waiting for some talk. I said you guys would self-correct, right? I kept hearing one person saying lane. That's got to become contagious. That we're all talking. All right, let's turn it around. Let's see if we can get good communication. Understand the spot that we need to be on. All right, let's go. Stop. Okay, here we go. Let's rotate now. So now we'll move that from being guided, and we're just going to work this. But what's going to happen now is Alain, you're going to stay there. And as soon as Alain moves, we're going to be live. Okay? As soon as Alain moves, c'est 4 contre 4. So, yeah. Dès que tu débarques, tu vas partir au centre. Parfait. C'est 4 contre 4. All right? Here we go. Good, let's go. Balls out. What's the first thing that happens? La première chose qui s'est passée. Alain est parti, ta joueuse était là, elle verrait avec ta joueuse. Puis là, il peut attaquer le centre. Right? So go back to the principles that we talked about earlier. Là, Alain n'est plus là. Il n'est plus là, mais quand même, tu vas rester ici. Si ma joueuse s'en va par là, j'arrête, moi je monte, right? Someone's got to get to that spot to make sure we're healthy. Let's go. Whoop. Starting here. Good. Bounce. Good. Good. Two. Let's go. Okay. So, sorry, we're going to stay there. So now we're going with the live action, right? So who was on defense? Good. On garde ça 3 fois. 3 times on defense. Let's go. Try to correct your mistakes. Good. All right, let's go. Last time. Let's say this penetration happens this way. We know defensively we want to send them back to the middle, right? If this penetration happens right here, what do we do? Go ahead. Stunt to recover. Good. All right. Does anyone say, hey, we can't give up corner threes? Does anybody else? That's it? And it's not necessarily right or wrong, but I would like you to think about this. The difference between this line here and there is about 5 inches. We fuss a lot, and I did it for years as well. We fuss a lot about don't give up the corner three. It's so much easier. That's because we're so influenced by the NBA. And in the NBA, the difference between that and that is almost 2 feet. So that's why it is the easiest shot in the NBA. It's so much closer. For us, it's about 5 inches. Yet we're like, and I've done it for you, don't give this up. They're going to hit that with probably a little more regularly, probably if not 5% more than they hit this. Now, what we'll talk about is the gaps that we play, right? So let's get the ball here. And now, should she be able to attack here? No, because you're going to close out where? Perfect, all right? And you're going to split that leg and send her back to where LA is, right? What we will do here is get into this gap. This is where she should be playing, right? The ball's here, she should be in this gap. And we don't want to give up this. So instead of what you said, stunt and recover, I will start and reduce. Does everyone understand that? Je vais commencer là, elle va attaquer, je reste, elle s'en vient, puis là je m'en vais vers ici. I don't want to stunt and recover as much because that's longer right now as opposed to je me place. She shouldn't get beat there. Je me place, goes there, and now I'm ready to play. Are we clear? Good. All right, let's go. Yeah. Good. Okay, let's go. That's number 2. One more. A lot of rotations where we're allowing them to get to the paint. Right? Remember our principles. We don't want them to have paint. Either penetration at the top or baseline. We're going to stop them before they get into the paint. All right, let's go. Next thing we'll do is we'll move from simple exchange to now pass and cut. So let's get turned. All right, actually, let's move this whole group down to that side so that I can involve you guys in this one. I've been selfish with the time right here. Okay, so now we just simply dealt with the weak side exchanges, right? And now we're going to pass and we're going to cut. So now instead of the ball just staying here on our pass, good, good, exchange, same thing, good, get through, good, pass, cut and go. All right, stop. We want to focus right now when we pass and cut and go through is we want to jump to the ball. And what we want to do is when we jump to the ball, we want to see if we can get a tip. So let's get back. And when she passes, I want it to, I'm up there, I've got pressure. We're doing a great job closing out. I'm pressuring good. And when she passes this there, I want you to try to tip it. Yeah, try to tip it. Good. All right. 2 things will happen from that. Her trying to tip these passes is going to force this player to get a little further off the line, which takes her out a bit, which helps our defense. The second thing this does for us, her trying to tip it actually helps her with what we want in terms of jumping to the ball. So when she tries to tip it, jumps to the ball, good. Now she's in the position we want. Good. As this ball happens there, just stay right there. Our position we've already spoken about. We're at that, pretty much at that bend right now, right? Good. You're supposed to be good. So that if you're closing out where? Where? So you get it right there, right? Good. You got it right on that hand. Perfect. And now we're in good position, right? And you're going to deal with this, right? Because I'm act up. Good. And you're act up. Good. And now we're going to move. And this is another issue that we have. Good. Now, rotate. Good. Rotate. Saw. Good. Go. Saw. Good. All right. Perfect. Often happens is this movement stops and we start to get all the way out here and now we're late in this rotation. It's happened a few times down there. So all we're going to do is build from there, pass and cut. We want to tip, forcing her off the line. We want to put pressure. She's going to rotate. We're in a good position. Got it? Here we go. 3 times. Good. Just 14. Here we go. So let's start again. Sorry, Ali, I just need you back in here. As soon as Ali left, and this is all part of teaching, right? They just started doing it. It's the first couple of times they've done it, right? As soon as Ali left, now he was gone, all of a sudden we'll start to play here. I really want us to stay in and exaggerate this. So if this is part of what's important to us, let's make sure we correct all the way there, okay? Good. Ale, you're going to make sure they know every time they don't get this. So you'll communicate to them, right? Go ahead. All right, simple. Boy, scissor. Ready? Let's go. Go. So now we have a shot clock on. Okay? So anytime you're ready to leave, remember they got to play, so don't let the shot clock expire. Okay? Bien compris? Okay. Là, il y a un shot là. Et là, ça va sonner en 14 secondes, right? Alors, toi, tu vas partir avant que c'est trop tôt. Alright, let's go. Sit. One more time. Let's go. Things to fix right now, all right? We talked about belly button to our check. Puis on voit défensivement plusieurs fois, dans la deuxième balle, je compte complètement, puis je vois plus la balle. Puis là, ils vont attaquer en arrière de moi. C'est vraiment important qu'on voit tout le temps la balle. Alors, ma fille va couper, moi je tourne sans sprint, je vois la balle. Right? I could never be in a situation where I don't see the ball. All right? Dernièrement, sur notre rotation, if we're coming over to help, c'est vraiment important de walk through it. So, balle, good, on passe, on coupe, stop. Elle commence à attaquer déjà. Good, stacky. Good. Si tu es déjà là, quand ils vont commencer à attaquer, c'est à moi de sortir dans la rotation. Are we good? That's it. All right? Are we good? Here we go. Good. Go, two more. Go, last one. Who's at the nail? Prochaine affaire, we're going to talk about posting up. So let's get, on va poster de la même manière. Alain, you don't need to be there anymore. Okay, I think they understand it. So, on change. On fait la passe à l'aile. Parfait. Good. On essaie de toucher la balle. We don't want to be back. Good. Puis on coupe. C'est ça. Good. We talk about no penetration passes to the post, right? So, you're going to guard top side. So, just one. I'll go back here. I'll help you with it first. Good. Je commence ici. La balle comme ça. Good. Good. Here we go. I'm playing. I'm going to jump to the ball, try to tip it. Stool. English flat. And now I'm top side. The ball in that position, I want to be top side. I want to work. My job right now is to play top side to slide behind. So, si elle va passer vers là, c'est correct. Now I can slide behind, but I want to get this leg split so that I make her have to pass, if anything, down there. What's the possible pass that can happen? Down there, what else? Lock. Good. All right? So we want to make sure that if she's working top side, j'ai beaucoup d'aide ici, and I'm going to position myself. I've got, this is why I'm yelling, rim, rim, rim. Je vois ma joueur, je descends, you've got nail, and we're going to have pressure on the ball so that this pass is going to take some time. It's not going to be, I'm back, it's an easy, fast skip pass. Je suis là pour t'aider, and you're going to communicate to her all the time. Le plus que je communique avec elle, le plus qu'elle va être confiante de s'éveiller top side. Got it? So the more I talk, the more confident she's going to feel that she can play this. Are we good? Here we go. So all we're going to do right now is go pass, cut, and we're live from there. Got it? If we can get into the post, play out, we're live from there. Okay? Here we go. Good. Okay. What error did we have? I'll ask you guys. Get it out. What get out? Let's go easy. Yeah. First pass that happened, and this is a reluctance of posts. Ball goes here, and as she cuts, we are more comfortable getting to here. But she was doing a great job here that she couldn't pass, and she went there. Good. For you, changement. Just change that. Okay, so want to stay on the top side, so if they pass around the perimeter, we're good. All right, let's go.
Yeah. Go.
What you doing? Oh, you play it complete. Let's go. Go, baby, go. Good. But that's no, let's go. What's your one mistake here, Nadine? And where did you send her? She went middle, right? Don't allow her to go middle because there's too much gap there. Okay, let's go. Good jump. Good. I'm going to change it right away. Let's go. What color you need yet, man? Pass goes there. This is your look. Pause. So try to get a tip. Go down. Just look. Good. If they pass it over the top, here. We don't want you to try. And I know, I apologize because I'm sure George might have a different way, so it's going to be tough right now, but this is what we're thinking here. Got it? All right, let's go. No passes into the paint. Good. So good. Cool. Don't make it. Good. There you go. Good job. Let's go. Have fun. Pressure so through the ball so she can't see that, right? All right, let's go. Good. Are you in the gap? Turn it around. Let's go. Are you in the gap? Get in the gap. So she cuts behind you, and we have these four who are going to help us. All right, let's go.
Question.
Sure.
Sir, what would be your correction versus repetition rate to make sure that they totally understand? Obviously, I mean, like you just said, George has a different concept with those girls, but in normal practice.
In normal practice, and I'm bad with this, and I'm going to tell you off the bat, I correct every 2 seconds, and that's poor. Because I'm not able to correct every 2 seconds in a game. So what I'm trying to do more is let them figure some things out, right? But the key details to what we're doing, like we just talked about jumping to the ball and guiding that. So that I'm probably going to correct with more regularity right now than I am going to correct the other stuff that we've talked about, right? That's the key focus of this phase right here. So I'm going to correct that probably with more regularity than you're seeing other mistakes happen, and I'm not touching those right now. Figure some things out. I think I said just now, you got to get more in the gap. But these are things that I believe I do poorly. I correct every 2 seconds. And you're never going to be able to do that in a game. You're going to frustrate yourself, and you're going to just frustrate your players who are going to, he calls my name every second. I heard this. Hey, say, no. So I'm trying to be better as a coach by letting them figure some things out. And it has to happen in practice because in games, you're not there. All right, here we go. Okay, so once again, that I'll correct right. Remember, keep trying to get a tip, jump to the ball, make sure she cuts behind you so your teammates can help you. All right? ball. Good, table. Good, table. Perfect. Good. Cut, Joy, cut. Good. Yeah, good job. All right. Good job. Hey, I think you just communicated right there, just got them a little more energized. Okay? All right, let's go. Let's go. One more turn. I don't care if it's a guard or a big, because guards find themselves in these situations a lot as well. Right now, you're not used to posting up, right? So that's fine. Cut still. So she's used to understanding this situation. Now, hey, you don't want to post up? Move the ball, get up there. Now we're going to get the ball to her in this situation where she will post up like more likely. So just keep going, all right? Here we go. Stop, stop. Start there, just so she can do what I said. No. I want you to okay. So pass, post up, deal with that so she understands we go from there. Good, play. Shoot. Let's go. Rotation, let's go. We've got one more session each. Good. Who's in help? Good. Up. Good. Who's there? Go, rotate. I'm sorry, Sean, next person. Just a quick question for you guys as coaches. Does it matter where I stand?
Nope.
Ed? Yes. Who said no? Okay. Who says yeah? Why?
You want to see the defense the same way that they see the play.
I like that. And I might be wrong. I can't give you a definite. But the answer there is you want to get the same perspective that the players get. So if I'm talking about defense, I can see exactly what they're seeing right here. Might have a, and I say this to my players all the time. I give them the benefit of the doubt because they see something different. Their vantage point is different from mine when I'm sitting right there on the sideline. But now that I'm practicing, I want to work with them and correct. This is the position I want because I want to see what they see when they got to that position. Make sense? The other side of it, when I'm coaching offense, I try to get to the half-court line so I'm out of their way, but I can see what they're seeing when they're attacking on offense. All right? Let's go. Last one. Good. 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 I want one more. And see, the things that we're trying to fix right now is all the other stuff is starting to come together. You guys are doing a great job. I want to make sure every time that ball is passed from here and she cuts, that I jump to the ball and I don't allow her to face cut. Don't allow face cuts, and we're good. All right, let's go. We got a minute and 40. Jump. Good. Table. Sorry. Okay. That's the okay. There we go. All right. You trying to mess up my whole defense on camera? Let's go. Good. Jump to the ball. Good. Nice. Good. Here we go. Get that. Here we go. Good. That's it. Close to you. Close to you. Hey, for that last one to end with a 14-second violation, I say good job. So that's the progression. Now, you see how long that took? There's no way that's going to take that amount of time in practice, right? So the idea is a lot of shorter repetitions. I would have probably broken that into 2 groups, half the group doing it down there, half the group doing it down here, and running through a lot quicker, all right? Probably, obviously more detail-oriented, all right, in terms of what we're trying to fix, what we're trying to correct, all right? But just giving you guys a quick overview of how we break down the rotations, where we need to be, in our half-court defense, all right? My understanding is you guys have got a bit of a break right now, right? I think you're gonna go, is that right? You guys got about 10 minutes. Then the next part of what we're gonna do is just work into, you're gonna see exactly what we did there. Now we're gonna start to move our transition defense, all right? I'm gonna show you the phases of our transition defense, building from what we just did there. Are we good? Yep. Thank you guys. I just want to clear up 2 points because I got some questions asked. If they had that question, maybe you would have the same question. So let's get 4 on 4 right back in here. 1 second. So get 4 white, 4 black. You guys were nervous before. I don't know why you're walking all slow and nervous now. Let's go. We're good. So let's get swing. Same way we just set up. We need a basketball, please. And before you come out and throw it, let's go. Basketball. Good. So this was a question that I just got that I thought everyone should probably understand. So the question was, when this pass goes from here to here, and they exchange, oftentimes what's happening is that they're running into each other, right? And then trying to get there, and that's an issue. And just to correct, let's go back, or you can keep it there, that's fine. Let's do it with you guys. Make the pass there. Good. What should be happening, why you might see them running into each other, is because someone forgot to get here. So right now she's exchanging, she didn't jump to the ball, go. Good, and this is what's happening. What should always happen when that ball moves is that ball went there, she's jumping to the ball. Good. Now when she cuts, she's cutting behind. Good. That space is hers. Good. And you're going where? Good. And now we don't run into each other, and I'm in my help. So if you saw any running into each other, it was because of that. All right? When we would make mistakes at times when we didn't jump to the ball, didn't drop when my man was going, that's why they would run into each other. As long as we're doing that, we're fine. We good? Yes. Another question I just got was, what happens what side do you send her when the ball is in the middle? Right? And my response is, whatever you desire. But it has to be the defense's decision. I think some of the times, the word defense puts us in the wrong frame of mind. Defense does not or should not be us reacting to whatever the offense is doing. No. Defense in my mind is aggressive. Defense is, I'm going to dictate where you go. Because I'm prepared now when you go there. If I let you go somewhere, that's why we influence that spot, and everyone else is ready to receive it if she beats you. So our defense is prepared. So sometimes it's just, the word defense, I think it's wrong. It shouldn't be like we're passive and, oh, what you do, we react to. No. We're going to send you somewhere, and then we're going to respond to that. Are we clear? Okay. Transition defense. Let's go 5 players. So this just builds on what we just did. All right. Oftentimes, in a lot of drills that you have, plusieurs fois, une drill, ça peut travailler sur plusieurs affaires. Mais c'est à toi comme entraîneur de choisir dans cet exercice-là, c'est quoi le plus important? What's the most important thing in this drill that I'm going to work on? All right? So we're going in our transition, and we're going to get set up 5 out. So let's put a player here. Good. Let's put a player at the wing, there, and in the corners. Good. Now this is how, so these are our people on offensive right now. What I want to put on right now is, you're defending Joy. Good. Let's get you down all the way down to get you to an outlet right here. Good. So you're not defending. Just get to the outlet. Good. So this is one of my favorite drills that we work on, and it's pretty much a lot of things involved. So the ball will start right here. All we have right now is jumping to the ball and moving and positioning. So when that ball gets there, you get to that gap. Good. That's it. Inside leg up more. Good. Ball through, you get to that gap. Sprint there, sprint there, sprint there. Good. Right in that gap. Good. There you go. You're what? What? There you go. You're yelling that loud. Now, good. So now that's going to happen. Skip the ball this way. Good. Everyone change spots. Good. Sprint. That gap. Not too low. Up to the gap. Good. You are Good. Up a little higher. Good. Turn so you can see her. Good. Back. So now you have a max. No. Just see there. Just between you two. Maybe you. All right. So maximum will happen is 4 passes. All right. Whenever you're ready, shoot the ball. This works on defense, rebounding. So right now, when the ball gets shot, you got to make sure she doesn't get to the rim, get the rebound. You got to make sure you box her out, and you got to make sure you box her out. That weak side rebound. All right. Now, our transition defense is we send 3 players to the glass, and we drop 2. That's our basic. If we feel we're playing a team that transitions really well, we might only send 2 players to the glass and drop 3. It's up to you as a coach. Do you want to drop everyone? We send specifics, all right? So right now what will happen is, on the shot, my 2 shooters have 2 responsibilities. Long safety, so when the shot goes up, one of you is long safety. When the shot goes up, the other one is short safety. Got it? You guys all crash the board, all right? And then you're trying to break 5, the blacks going down there, whites defend. Are we clear? Make sense? All right, let's take a look at it. Okay, perfect. What do you do? À quelle position? Okay, so we're just going to revisit this. We're going to start again. Alors, peut-être que je l'ai mal dit, je vais essayer d'expliquer plus en français. Là, pour notre défensive transition, vous deux, les 2 shooters, c'est long safety, short safety. The long safety sur la shot, elle va sprinter, puis elle va prendre la fille de plus loin dans le clé. All right? The short safety, elle va sprinter ici, puis elle va sauver, puis elle va prendre la balle. Alors, a rebound, you guys are going to outlet to her, this is what you're trying to get. So, the outlet to her, moi je m'en vais vers elle, je la surveille, je l'essaie, moi. It's terrible. Like I always look for a volleyball court in there because that's one of our reference points. What we want to do is short safety. When you take your player, you want to guide her and keep her outside of the volleyball court. So ici, on va essayer de garder au moins à l'extérieur de l'univers. You want to make sure she's not getting inside the exterior. Got it? So you're going to be my short safety. You're going to be my long safety. Got it? You're picking up the ball. You're making sure we get there, picked up. Once we get down there, you guys are sprinting back, right? You want to get out of that. You don't. We'll put us to that match about the post, right? Good. So you guys got to get an exchange, right? Who's your biggest player? You're going to try to get out, get hurt, and you guys are going to switch off too. We good? All right, let's go. Sure. Sorry.
Donc, probablement, c'est l'enfant qui a pris la balle.
Pardon?
Les filles n'ont pas parti parce que c'est l'enfant qui a pris la balle.
Okay. So sorry. If you give up an offensive rebound, score. All right. Let's go. Thank you. Go. Go. Good, go. Good, go. You got the ball. Good. Good job. Okay, so this is the drill because it's going up and down. I will give them multiple attempts at it. So, let's go. Same team going the other way. Let's go. Same thing. Mimic here. Only do 24 when they start the transition, right? Okay. Ready? Go. You can change this. No. Let's see if on small call. Last one. Let me left. Yeah, you can change the shooters. All right. Here we go. Okay. So we're working our transition defense, and it's a transform. Ça vient de qu'est-ce qu'on a déjà parlé, right? So all these positions we're communicating. You're in the gap right here. You are? Good. That's it. So everything we do, we're going to make sure we talk. All right? Let's go. Split. Split. Good. Come on. Good. Outlet. Outlet. Good. Here we go. For our shots back. Now we'll go white and black. Let's go. Là, on va travailler ça 2 fois. So you're going to do it. You're going to do the drill side. Score. Score, ça termine là-bas. So 2 fois. Bien compris? Okay. On va travailler ici. All right. We're going to work the drill. Good. Then once the shot goes up, we're going to transition there and back. Ça termine ici. Got it? All right. Let's go. Split. 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 Good. Go. Outlet. Good. Down, down. Let's go. Let's go. Pick up short set. Do short. Look. So we've been going for a bit right now, so they're getting a little exhausted, right? So all we wanted to do is talk about them taking the stuff we did earlier. So continue. Taking the stuff we did earlier and actually getting those little details. On n'oublie pas l'expression qu'on a déjà parlé. Go, Joy, you guys can start right away. On n'oublie pas l'expression qu'on a déjà parlé. So they got my back, right? All that stuff is now starting because we're focusing on something else. I just want to get back to that.
C'est vrai, il y a plus de vision de
Rebound. Go, so about short safety. Good, let's go, so about. Down more, let's go. So, we're going to come back to this drill, all right? Because this drill has some complicated pieces to it. And now, what I'm seeing as the issues, I'm going to try to correct right now in some other smaller drills, all right? So, the first thing that's important in this drill is we talk about our transition defense. Our transition starts on the shot, okay? Not on the rebound, but on the shot of the ball, we should be gone. On the shot, long and short are taking off. All right? So what we're going to try to do to correct this drill is this right now. Let's get, we need 6 players. All right? Red, white, black, white, black, white. I want all our point guards, or who would guard the ball, starting in the corners, opposite each other. Let's get a black, a white there. You would take our biggest player now. And let's get our post right now. An offensive post right here. Good. Next, on the other side. Other side. Other side. Good. See? Blank. Good. So that attack. Perfect. And then 2 corresponding players right here. Black, white. Everybody on the baseline. La balle va commencer là dans le coin. Okay. So what we're going to try to get accomplished here is this. We want to work on us taking off and understanding that as this player's gone down there, we want to take care of her on the shot and the transfer of players. Because right now, if you go along the way we play, our long is probably going to be a guard. And that first big is probably going to be someone that we don't want to keep her with. Notice our big is now that last person that's going to be there. So for us, it simulates the player who jams and slows down the transition, and now she's got to get back. All right? So what we're working on is this, transferring pressure from the ball coming out, on long safety, and then the big getting back to get her own man. So we'll just walk through it a few times, walk through it first, then we'll do it after. So this is what's going to happen. Just on the baseline. Good. From corner to corner, just space out. Just that's equal. Good. Joy, you're going to pass here. And stop. And run long. Run all the way long. Good, go. This symbolizes our long safety. She's going to run and get right here. Good. Pass. And run down the big. This is the first big offensively. So what we usually play, you shot first big. You've got to make sure she doesn't get an opportunity. So you're going to go with that, right? Take away the long threat. Pass. Good. You're going to be right now our short safety. Good. Short safety. Right about here. Good. Pass. You're a runner running the wing. Run either that one or that one. I'm good with. Good. Come on, side to side again. Good. Pass. Good. Sprint. Good. The job right now is for you to pick up the ball. My short safety, good, right? So no, short safety, your job, get her and keep her out of the middle, right? Keep her over here, we're playing. Your job right now is to exchange and take the pressure off Joy. Good? Joy, Kaki. That's your girl's right here, right? Good. That's your man. Good. So you're getting into an area right here where you can play and help her out. You're going to take the ball. And then we're just going to play 3-on-3. Got it? All right, let's go. Come on, Samba. So you saw earlier, this is part of that whole transition that we worked. So now we've just broken it down into a smaller area. Just working the 3 people that are really key to our transition defense. Our long safety, our short safety, and our jammer. All right? Is everyone clear? Don't worry, we're going to mess it up 1 or 2 times. It's okay. But I wanted to communicate. Joy, you yell, long, I got long. You're going to yell, short, you've got grip, right? Here we go. Go. What?
I got long, short,
Good. There you go. That's it now. What we're working on is that transfer. Joy's player is somewhere up here. And see that ball go through? It's going to be a pass easy into the rim, right? So Joy now has to work with, okay, when I go, put it down full sprint, you get your player, and then we'll pick up there. Good? Let's go. Turn it around right here. Sprint, talk. Good, spin. Good, hit hard. That's what I'll do. Good shot. Okay, now, so you saw the transfer happen better this time. Let's back this up a second. Okay. So, Nadine, you had long, right? Yeah. Good. Nadine had long, and she came up, you had the ball, right? Good, take the ball. And this was a really good transfer because Nadine playing long, était pas collé, back a bit, était pas collé à côté de ses joueurs so that they can make an easy pass right there. Était ici, elle jouait entre les deux. Now when the ball went here on the airtime, Nadine played the ball, good. The only thing that we were missing now was an element that came from earlier. pas de passe, pénétration. You can't allow her to cut in front of you. So all that needs to be done is go get the ball, good. Descend, and take away the pass direct. Good, and now that would be perfect. All right? Let's go. Try to turn it around. Let's go. Talk. Good, go, switch. Good. Read it. Good, there you go. Good job. There, well done. Turn it around, good job. So now, out of a 3-player situation where they can have an easy sport, they were able to work themselves out where it's no easy basket, and the ball got controlled. And that's what we're trying to deal with in our transition defense. No easy baskets, and we can control the ball after. Let's go, do it again. Big thing that's important here. Play to completion. We just don't go back. Play to the end. That's fine. Let's go. Just reverse you two. We're going to go twice and then we're good. Good. On foul. Good. You got my spin. Good. There you go. Well done. Good job. Okay. So we are good right now with the transfer of players, right? They're getting back and transfer off. The only thing that we're having trouble with is what? Anybody see? Yeah, we're allowing her to get a pass inside every time. So we just got to take away that pass and we're going to be okay. All right, make them play after we're fine. Hey, last time. Go. Okay, let's go back. We've been in the wrong situation. Let's go. Our guards on the ends. Plus large. À l'extérieur de 3 points. Talk. Good. One piece, all right? So let's get you guys back. Big down there. Big down post. Ça va? On revenu en transition. We came back on transition defense. We had a player out here. Good. So let's just say, and this is really important. T'es pas là, t'as pris la balle. I didn't get back in time, so I'll be là. Good. Good. À l'extérieur. Sometimes we don't make it, and this is what's really important, that this player reads and doesn't give up the basket. On donne pas le panier. Alors je en mets down, a little higher. Good. I was late. Okay. Good. Je vais prendre elle. Go ahead. Go. Perfect. Is this a problem? No. Why? Who said no? Talk up. I can't hear you. You want my mic? Go ahead.
Definitely, because he helped her from easy basket right there. Because sometimes you get confused, and then the person don't know who to go play defense. The other guy, the other girl, it's like mess it up. I got one guy, this and all that. But she have to call. I got the other guy also. So they said they help each other out.
Perfect. So basically, the explanation was. Sometimes we get caught up and we don't know who has who, so we just get caught in this kind of situation. Two things that we can think about right now. First of all, mismatches don't beat you in basketball, for sure at our level. It's not because a guard was playing a big that you lost the game. We are not afraid to defend a big, all right? It's open players that hurt us. So if we get confused and she's running out here and she's not back from high, yeah, good. And she went to play this early, right? And now we've got her open, that's what's going to kill us, right? But if she decides, hey, I don't have enough time to sauver Penny, et aussi Praël, just take mine. Second point, on vient juste de travailler ça. We just worked on this. And that's why I said I wanted the guards to cut as well, so we have to deal with posts. Because right now, as that guard gets here, where should you be? Good. You should be on the top side. This way. Good. And not allowing this pass. So the only pass that's going to come is which kind? Good. So then as I get down to here and I see that lob, I can give her some help. Now this is extreme because it's 3-on-3. But when this is 5-on-5, that big is not killing your guard because she's got help right here. So if we get caught in this mismatch, don't be worried about it. Got it? Okay, let's go. Let's get all 5 players. We need 2 more. Okay, good. So here's what's going to happen. Another way we work on it, so you just saw our long and short, is we will put wall, bland, and only put right now it's going to be for black, so let's get a big down here. Yeah, good. Black big. Good. Now let's get the same idea. Let's get a black outlet right there. So make it move. Bland, wall. Alright? So now, same principles, alright, that are going to happen here. But now what we want to include more is that jammer. Okay? And it's up to you guys. We would do it differently where we designate who's our long, who's our short. Sometimes people do it by position, where you are on the floor when the shot goes up. I've seen where, hey, you're above the free throw line extended, you are dropping long and short. Or you could designate by personnel. So what we would do here is this situation. Let's go. Tip. Just walk through it. Good. So, good. Good. Machete. Good. Good. Go. Stop. So, in go. Jam the ball. Because what we don't want to have happen is the person that gets a rebound is able to make a quick pass up the court. What I want my jammer to do is give us time. All right? So, shot went up, who's long? Out of your way. The furthest one back is long. Go take care of her right away. Who's the second one back? Who's the second one left in this rotation? Good. I don't care right now who it is. Good. You get deuxième? You're going to control the ball. Got it? Good. Your jobs now are to get back and interfere with this ball moving up and pick up players. Got it? Are we clear? Good. So here we go. Let's look at that right now. Go. Go. Go, it's you, right? All right, let's go. I'll throw it up again when I say go. Go. Jab. Go. That's it. Okay. Perfect. What did she do? So everyone back here. What's the first thing that happened? Anybody? We did a good job jamming the ball. Then what happened? Good. And then what happened? Who brought the ball up? Not the outlet, right? Who do I want to take the person who do I want to guard the ball? The short safety. So what happened right away is, as soon as this happened, we ran right into her. Now there's no pressure on the ball. That ball's going to come up hot and quick. And we can't have that happen. So your job, whoever the short safety is, not to go get her, but to play in and see where they go with that ball. If they go there with the ball, Madison, good. Good. Here we go, Madison. Here we go. Let's play that. Good. We're still having the same problem, right? What's our same problem? Yeah, so you're allowing people to catch the ball. And sometimes this happens. This will happen a lot, right? Where, as a post, I think you are probably an outstanding player. And so the confidence that she has is that you can catch this ball in front of me. I'm going to defend you anyways. I'm going to block your stuff, whatever. Right? That's sometimes the confidence that our bigs have. That if you get in front of me, we're going to be okay. But this is what we've got to break right now. Right? So how do we correct that? Anyone? Okay, so what I'll do right now is, in this drill right here, anytime there's interior paint touch to your player, good. That's going to be 3 points for them, no matter if they score or not. We're going to award points on the catch, not on the basket, whatever. So if they got it inside and hit a 3, now they got 6 points. If they don't score, so when I hit the ball, what's that doing, right? If they don't score, they got 3 points right away. So if I'm thinking offensively that we should get the ball inside, that would be incentive to look inside. If I'm thinking that defensively you've got to take that pass away, every time they catch that, you're going to give them 3 points. Understand? Good, let's go. Turn it around. So let's get a white down here now, black down there. And now, we're going to finish, listen up. We're going to go 2 trips. So we're going to go that way with the drill, and then just regular transition defense, come back this way. Got it? So just regular playing after that. Got it? Let's go. Keep in line, keep in line, keep in line. Go! Black ball, come right back, let's go. Black ball, come on, let's go. No. That's it, let's go, pick up, let's go. Good, that's how you see? Come on. What did we realize right away? Yeah, she didn't get the ball inside just now, right? And that's not a bad kid. She's not trying to do this on purpose. She's just so confident in her own ability to defend you when you catch this that she's going to continue to do it. And that's a big part of when they talk about teach, right? We've got to get her to break that habit that I can stand behind and defend here when that's not part of what we do, right? So we've got to get her to break that habit, and that's what you as coaches have got to look for in your players. What's the reason? Hey, all right? Let's go one more time, down and back, change it. Let's go. So we're going to go down with the drill, finish down here. Go. So now, we just looked at a couple things that we can do to improve that situation, right? So now we're going to go back to the original drill. all right, to see if there's been any kind of improvement. So drill the work on the shooting start. So now we understand what we're looking for, right? That transfer, 5-on-5, how we're playing out of it, right? Okay, let's go. Make sure we're communicating it loudly. Go. Shoot. Good. Lock out. Go. Take it out. Take it out. Good. Good. Go. Go. Take it out. Go. Let's go. Getting better, controlling the ball a little better, all right? The one thing we're seeing right now is, and that we got to do a better job of team, as that ball is coming down, the same principles that we had here with regards to help, rim, nail, right? We've got to follow those same principles as we come back in transition. Don't go off onto the wing beside your man, all right? I want to get closer to the ball so we can build a wall on this side so there's no penetration that's happening over here. We good? Here we go. We're gonna go get that. Let's go, take it, go, 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 go. Who's ball? Good. Good. Go, take it and go, take it and go. Let's go. Down on the wall, let's go. Black ball. Actually, here. Well, go, black ball. Go, 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 go. Good. Let's go. Last side. Turn around, last side. Shooters. Who are the shooters? Shooting? Good. Good. Talk. Let's get it back. Correct. All right. Remember, my foot closest to. So I know you're guarding her, right? If the ball is here, I'm right in here. Sorry, I'm right here. Right. So all right. Let's go. Good. Sprint. Good sprint. Good box. Let's get a rebound on that. Rebounding is not the big piece of what we've been talking about over the last couple, but I want us to communicate this, all right? We are never going to reverse into a box out. So that shot goes regarding her, we're never going to back up into her because she decides to go some other way for a shot. So this is my job. I'm going to always box out to the lane. I'm going to run, contact, box out to the lane. Because now, a rebound from a three-point shot that can hit the rebound, it's going to be a long rebound. So standing out here does us nothing other than air balls. So we want to get here. If it's short, easier to jump forward than it is to jump back. All right, here we go. Hard. Good, get that, get that. Good, go, go. Be short. Good. Go. Rotate, rotate. Get it, go, go, Mike. Be short. was for me to take about 5 minutes right now and just allow you guys to talk amongst yourself and work in the group, all right? And to have you create a drill that has the points that we just talked about, all right? So, what phase of a drill is it going to be, all right? The what of the drill, the why of the drill, all right? And then how we create habits in the drill, all right? So all I'm going to ask you to do right now is just get into little pockets of groups, and one of you guys will come up and will present, and then just talk about it, all right? Run them through that drill. Is it clear? Is everyone clear on that? All right. Now, the reason we're going to do this is as coaches, sometimes we have that fear of just coming out and doing this in front of a large group because we're like, hey, does this make sense? I said earlier, one of the things that we have to do on a daily basis is put yourself in a situation where you can get better. And you don't get better if you don't put yourself out there. So challenge yourself right now to, in a small group, don't do a drill that you always do. Think of, hey, you know what? And what I want it to be about is any phase of our half-court defense or anything that had to do with the transition defense. I'm probably going to pick one person. You're going to do it, one group. You're going to do it, and then we'll go from there. All right, we'll talk a bit about things that we can do better and where we understood from there. Are we good? All right, you got about 5 minutes. I know you know I'm probably calling you, right? Let's go. All right, here you go. You got about 5 minutes. Okay, let's go, let's say about 5 of you in a group. All right, get to a group of 5. If it happens to be 6, that's fine. But discuss the drill, how you would do it.
Le vent est sud-ouest.
C'est bon, ça va pas.
Ils ont dit que le vent est
Mais non, j'ai pas dit ça.
On va se battre pour des témoins.
Ah oui, oui.
Bon, ben, bonjour tout le monde. Tout le monde me connaît. Je suis le sourduleur de la matinée. Je vais pas en parler avec Ryan. Alors, petit exercice, c'était long notre focus, on s'entendait pas comme d'habitude, un petit 4 tours ensemble, c'est déjà facile. Ce qu'on va faire, c'est un 5 contre 5, un encadrement, d'accord? On va le coach qui est là. Tous les joueurs qui ont un numéro 1, lèvez la main. C'est quoi? Yes. Numéro 2, levez la main. Numéro 3. Alors, votre choix va nommer un joueur, un numéro, c'est-à-dire avant de lancer la balle. Je peux la lancer à n'importe qui sur la baseline. Ça va? Les joueurs sur la baseline, ce sont des attaquants. Donc, les joueurs en haut, défenseurs. Ça va? On veut faire les principes qu'on a vu ce matin, c'est que j'avais la balle, utiliser mon langage, c'est correct? Ça va? C'est un full court. Quelque chose d'important? Ça va tout le monde? Question? On va? Yes. Sur la place?
C'est aller-retour, mais c'est dans 10 minutes. Ça va.
OK. Aller-retour.
Normalement, c'est aller-retour. Des fois, je fais au début le contrôle comme ça, puis après ça, on fait aller-retour pour simuler les deux actions. Un en contrôle, puis l'autre pour la réaction des joueurs.
Forgetting people. Any thoughts on the drill? What was the goal of the drill? The what and the why? Transition defense, okay? Why did we do it in that manner? Pourquoi les 5 allées? Yeah. All right. And so what are you trying to get out of it that you're going to create the habit on? Because in your transition defense, is there a specific thing that you want it to be habit forming with? Est-ce quelque chose spécifique que tu veux que ça soit? What's habit? An habitude.
An habitude.
Habitude. What is it specific that you want it to have as an habitude?
Communication.
Parfait. Alain said he doesn't like talking, so I just wanted to make him talk a second. Now listen, what would, we would do this drill as well, all right? But for me, what's really important is that long safety. So I would take this same drill, same thing. And this is what we've got to think about as coaches. How do I adjust something to make it more pertinent? Like you'll see something at a clinic. How do I adjust this to make it something for me? All right, let's go. Good. Now we have the same concept, main principle. All right, good. Now what we talk about is to leave on the shot. So now, who's our long safety? Siki. This is. Good, perfect. So now once I do this, long safety, but yeah, good. Was he? No. You guys are still doing the same things, right? Good. So your ball, you're still going. Mais là, t'es déjà parti, because now she's going. Got it? And now, same drill. We just put the emphasis different. Does everybody understand that? We're good? Okay. So you guys don't have to do it, it's okay. So that's just what we think about as coaches. You could take anything you've seen and just try to look at how can I make this so that the emphasis for what I want in this drill is happening as opposed to I'm just doing the drill that someone else was already doing. And maybe that doesn't fit with your beliefs. Good? Hey, we're good. I don't have to ask anyone else. Alain just did it. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you, ladies. I really appreciate it. Champlain, St. Lambert, you guys. These are the things that are really important, all right? I think, does everyone hear me? I don't think we do this kind of stuff enough. Like, I don't think it has to be a clinic where, and nothing against Basketball Quebec and paying for a clinic or whatever, but there needs to be more exchanges of ideas amongst coaches, right? Just sitting down at a table and talking and, hey, what do you think of this? Like, there aren't these big secrets that you hold in your pocket that everyone, like, you go on the internet, you can find anything you want. You're not the only one, but you're also not the only one looking for new ideas. So conversations, the ballet de jaser entre nous, like we're a group of coaches from Quebec. That bouncing stuff that I talked about in our closeouts, I got that from watching my daughter's mini practice. And I said, they're just too stationary, how can we move them? You can learn from any place you go. You just have to want to learn. And as coaches, we have to understand that once you stop learning, you're in trouble. Once you get to the point where you think, I know enough, you're in trouble. The game is constantly changing, and we have to constantly evolve and try to get better because we have a responsibility. We owe it to them young ladies or young men or wherever they are. So if I can leave you with one message, it's that. Get better daily. And like I said earlier, an opportunity for you to get better is in any kind of scrimmage activities you have in practice. Put yourself against your assistant coach. Let them coach one team, you coach the other team. How can you get better? Take a situation where that team was just scrimmaging and now they're down 7. I got to find a way to bring them back. How can you get better? That's got to be your goal. If it's just to show up and say, I coach, it's not good enough. All right? So I thank you guys all for being here. I hope you got something out of it. The one thing I would say is sometimes we start our game at university and there's less people here in the stands. Match. So I think what I'm going to do from here on out, you get 2 points for your locker every time you show up at the McGill game. All right? Thanks a lot, everybody.
Merci Ryan, très apprécié. Il est midi moins 5 pour tous ceux qui veulent rester. En tout cas, on espère que tout le monde va demeurer. On prend 1h15. On prend le temps de prendre une bouchée. Les entraîneurs arrivent, nos techniciens, le prochain c'est Greg qui va être avec nous cet après-midi. Donc on prend 1h15 ici, le gym, avec tous vous autres on espère. Les filles, merci beaucoup pour ce matin. Pour les coachs, on se revoit dans 1h15 et on commence à l'heure.